I know.
Holy shit. Hi,
Hello,
Lisa.
Lisa Lampanelli. You too.
You look really good.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to see you. They said the Jim and Sam show, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
sometimes they give you really shit assignments.
they
here.
do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really?
Is there? I mean, there's not that much radio in general in New York that's worth
Right.
doing. Like Elvis has a giant audience.
Yeah, that's the
and-
only one I do, I think.
Right?
Just Sirius and Elvis, and I don't think I've done a radio. I used to do like Hot 97 and that, but that was when I was into the black guys.
Did that help you draw?
No.
Did you
Come
have me
on.
draw the black guys?
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's my life, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I'm skinny, they don't want me on anymore because I don't fuck the blacks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Jim knows. He knows that
I
they
do
like the
know.
big ass, so they have something to hide behind when the cops start shooting.
That's right.
They understand.
That's right.
How do you how has being the political correctness? Because I know you for so long.
Yeah.
And in the last 3 years, 4 years, it's gotten astronomically worse. How has it affected you?
Like, not in the least, and can I tell you why? I'm not a big tweeter and a big Facebooker and all that. I'm 56 years old. I don't need to do that. It makes my life miserable. So I do it if I have to. But so that way I don't get in trouble. However, on stage, it's my audience coming. So they
Right.
expect it. They expect the N-word and the C-word and all that stuff. I don't sprinkle the N-word in as much because that was my one Twitter problem. I Instagrammed a picture. This was so embarrassing. I Instagrammed a picture of me and Lena Dunham saying me and my N-I-G-G-A.
Right.
And you thought this
And
with the
I
A.
thought, oh, Lisa's cool enough to pull that off. Well, it was within the last 3 years, and everybody went nuts. White
not cool
people
enough?
too. So I said, this Wendy Williams came after me. It hurt my feelings. I wasn't mad. I just was like, oh, I made a mistake. I'm a colossal fuck up.
Yeah.
So what I did was I didn't apologize, but I went on Wendy and said, if it hurt an individual's feelings, I'm sorry I said the joke, but I don't apologize to groups.
Right. You can't
Like,
apologize to a group.
Dude, the other day, and honestly, I felt no remorse about this. An old man, like literally probably 75 years old, when I started doing some jokes about autism kids, because I fucking can't stand them. Like I really like Down syndrome kids. Like I'm totally down with the nouns. But let me tell you something. I'm sick of these freaking what do you call autisms?
Autistics, yeah.
So they spoil my game night because they're focused on listening. I'm trying to play apples to apples with you little fucks.
Right.
I got to freaking worry about you going off on a tangent, and then we got to, for politeness, stick with it. Anyway.
Right. No, I get that.
So I did a bunch of autism jokes that I think are terrific. Well, this guy literally had been laughing the whole show, 75 years old, and then shut down. Like you could just tell when somebody shuts down.
Sure.
He didn't yell. He wasn't. He was gentlemanly. He just sat there. And I said to him,
Kind of
sir,
autistically.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like
Okay.
he had empathy. And I said, sir, I can't help but notice. I remember his name. I can't remember, but I had used his name a lot for the old people jokes. I said, are you okay? You kind of shut down. And he's like, yeah, because, those kind of hurt me because I adopted two autistic kids. And first of all, I wanted to say that's your fucking problem. But I honestly went in my heart because I've kind of discovered my heart in the past few years. I said, honestly, if it hurt your feelings, I apologize. I want to meet you backstage. Because I was like, I really want to talk to this guy. So, Jim, I'm sure you're like this. You have no problem with an individual, gentlemanly or womanly, saying to you, look, it hurt me and here's why. But to a group, they can suck it. I honestly feel that way. I'm not being all brave because I'm on
I
the
know
radio.
what you mean. You're right.
You understand me.
Yeah, because because it could just be one person in the group speaking for the group, but an individual is speaking for themselves.
Yes.
But I've thought about you a lot in the last couple of years. Like, I wonder how this is because you're established enough where people know who you are. They know what you do.
Right.
So is Kathy Griffin, though.
But Kathy, a violent image of a president, that was different for any comic.
Well,
where I've
also,
gotten shit.
Jim, do you also feel this way? Because every interview now I'm asked about the Kathy Griffin thing. So, of course, and honestly, the only thing I really feel is if there was a punchline attached, it would have been okay to some people.
Yeah.
Like, because, funny is funny. That's kind of our job. It just didn't have anything that I could grab onto.
Right.
Like, I'm politically correct as fuck. But if I saw that, I was still like, whoa, what's going on here? But if there was a funny thing, I might be like, oh, I understand what she's trying to say.
You
I
just
didn't
said I'm politically
understand.
correct as fuck. You don't mean that.
Incorrect.
Okay,
I
yeah.
apologize. I'm wowed by how hot you look today. I got to admit, I always had a little crush on Norton, and I'm going to tell you why.
What?
He resembled Don Rickles to me. And I always had a big thing for Don Rickles, but not sexually. Like, I kind of admired him so much, and he was such a great guy. And so Norton kind of reminded me a little, and it was never anything really sexual little crushed, but I was like, oh, if Norton was normal and he was a human being like Rickles, that would be an appropriate mate for me. But God damn it, he's creepy and weird.
Yeah.
So I can't
Understandable.
go there. I
He
have
is.
some self-esteem left.
Right.
You know, but you're very cute, so
Thank
I'm
you.
loud and I'm misspeaking.
Right.
Sam, on the other hand,
Not
nothing
so
to
much.
look at.
Yeah,
But that's
that's-
okay, neither am I. I'm 56. What am I going to do? I'm skinny now.
You made
Right.
me laugh so hard. I forget what roast we were. It might have been the Gene Simmons, but you were saying how ugly the Deus was when
Okay,
Jim Norton is.
want me to do the joke?
Yes.
Because I tweeted out I was going to do my favorite joke and your favorite joke from the Gene Simmons. I go, Jim Norton, you ugly bastard. You know the Deus is ugly when they invite Jim Norton to be eye candy. And you know what?
a funny line.
But guess what's good about you though? You said, can I use this joke in my book as my favorite roast joke from that thing? And I was so honored, you know, because we always want other comics who
Sure.
we admire to like us.
Sure.
And whenever I'm asked about my heroes, they always ask me about these fucking women. I can't stand it.
You don't like lady comics?
You know what? None of them ever make me laugh from my gut. You know what I mean? New ones, yes. But these old established cunts, I don't care about.
You don't like them?
They always go, who do you like? And I don't care if they never heard of these people. I always go David Tell, Jim Norton, this one, that one. Because those are the guys that I always sit in the back of the cellar in the old days and would laugh my C off. I
Right.
just thought it was hilarious when you guys would go up there. Oh, until David Tell one time, I never told this, he yelled at me for laughing at him. And I was like, this fucking low self-esteem loser. I'm laughing my ass off. And he goes, oh, Lampanelli, it's not about you. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, you just don't even know what you did wrong. And he goes, if you want to see Lisa, she'll be outside the cellar whipping a slave with a Don Rickles album, which was fantastic. You don't get no better than that. But yeah, as far as political correctness, thank God my audience knows they're coming to see that. And they
But
go,
you're not-
okay, I embrace it.
You don't get worried that somebody's going to bring a phone out, take a
Don't
video
care
or something
because
out of
it's all-
context?
dude, worse is out there. What I've said on all my
Sure.
specials. I
Right.
remember, you know, I hesitate to say this word, but I'm doing a quote from myself. 2 specials ago, I think, I said something like, oh, you guys want to hear my new cut off my new album? It's dropping Thursday on Black History Month. It's called Cunt, Cunt, Nigger, Nigger, Cunt, Cunt, Nigger, Nigger. Like, it's not even a joke.
No,
it's
But I was like, if you want to see those horrible words, just go online. You're going to see them.
But that's
Yeah.
funny, and you're obviously just being ridiculously over the top. I mean,
Thank
who
you.
doesn't get that?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I learned from Rickles too, which is if you say something, make it so obviously stupid that no one could believe you mean it. Like when he said, without Mexicans, there would be no filth. Because that joke, to me, that joke is so like cut and, I mean, it cut and dried. Nobody could believe that. I
Right.
mean, seriously, it's the blacks with the filth. So, no, because he knew, I learned from him how to really do a joke like that.
What motivated you? Because you went through such a transformation.
I was going to ask the exact same question.
What was the moment of clarity where you're like, the weight has to come
Oh,
off?
my God.
Because you obviously had struggled before.
Boy, 32 years from the time I'm 18 to 50, up and down, up and down. And it happened because, and I talk about this in my play, we talk about the fact that I went to college. I was skinny throughout my life. At 18, I go to college, miserable. I wasn't ready to go away. And I wasn't date raped. I didn't have any huge trauma. I didn't have to go on Law and Order, a special rape show with Mariska Hargitay every day on USA all day.
Sure.
Sometimes even on on TV. Well, but it was horrifyingly, I was out of place. I didn't fit in. So the eating became my friend.
Yeah.
So I decided at age 50, after 32 years of going up and down, I said, enough. And you can look in a mirror and you can say, okay, I've tried every diet and exercise plan. It doesn't work. This is the only way to do it. And thank God I've kept it off for 5 years, which, you know, I didn't want to gain it back because in the business, that's known as pulling a Carney Wilson or a Ralphie May.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I love you, Ralphie, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are.
Jonah Hill.
Oh, yeah. And he didn't even have his stomach cut out.
No.
Mine, they cut it out. 75% of your stomach just goes.
Really?
Yeah. So you eat really small portions the rest of your life, and you have to deal with your problems instead of using a substance.
What would always happen? Like you start losing weight, I'm sure,
Right.
and then usually it's when you have 1 or 2 bad days. Then you're like, "Fuck it!" Like what would set you off?
Mine was a shrink said to me once. She goes, "I think you think the weight first of all is helping you disappear from men." It's helping you, you know, protect yourself from guys and from attention. And then I become a fucking stand-up, so I clearly want some kind of attention. She goes, well, the weight sure isn't helping, so why don't you just get rid of it? I'm like, yeah, but it's so hard. Like, even me and Jimmy Big Balls, when we were married, we went to Weight Watchers one last time. And we lost 7 pounds, And I think it scared us that this is going to be a change. This is going to be a huge thing in the rest of our lives. So we just said, fuck it, and we went to a diner.
Really?
So, yeah, I would always just screw it up. And I go, I need something that, like with an alcoholic, like, wouldn't it be the best if there was an operation you could have as an alcoholic that limited you to 1 drink a day?
Right.
That's what this surgery is.
It's a weird thing, like, and it just reminded me of something. When I was a kid, I did human growth hormone because I was so small. And, like, the struggle that I had mentally, I remember I was like 12 or 13 or whatever, and I had been the short kid for so long, like for my entire life, that I was like, if I do this and I'm not the short kid anymore, I don't know
What's your identity?
What
I don't know
am.
who Sam is because I'm the short. I've owned it. I've identified it. It's this thing. Everybody knows it, and it's like I want to be average height. But like
it's unknown territory.
But this is not who I am.
Right.
And it was this. It's that thing of like you are the fat comedian.
Right.
So
And
it's like, how am I not gonna? If I'm not the fat comedian anymore, then
what am I going to be? I'll
Right.
retire. See, I think I got to a certain age because I got to 50. I think 52. I did it right after Celebrity Apprentice. I was like, well, I'm ready to retire if I can't be funny anymore as a normal sized person. And then I get the freaking surgery. I get obviously horrifyingly beautiful from the neck down. I mean, I'm freaking terrific. But then you're still got what you got from the neck up. You know, I'm never going to win a beauty contest and I'm 56. So I go, oh, I can still make fun of other things, and I'm still emotionally codependent. I still work on my stuff. So the audience still knows that there's things that they can, you know, that you really don't like about yourself that you can't change.
Yeah.
Why did you stop doing the Comedy Central roasts? Did they not ask you anymore? Because you were so
Well,
good on
here's
those.
what happened. Bob Saget one, I had said I couldn't do it, and I told them why. I just gotten out of this 28-day food rehab. I told you I tried everything. I went to like rehab for this shit, and I just wasn't in the mood to do the roast. It was literally a week after, and I'm like, I can't. I was just in something really intense. So they asked me then to do the Joan Rivers one, and I had gone through a similar program the next year, and I go, I can't do it because it's not worth it unless I'm roast master. They said no because Kathy Griffin did it. I said okay then. So I do the Trump one. They asked me to do the freaking Charlie Sheen, and this is what happens when you start to get emotionally open. I go, no, I can't. It would seem like I'm making fun of someone who has mental problems, so I just can't. I can't morally do it.
Make fun of Charlie Sheen?
Yeah. So Amy Schumer says to me now, like a couple years ago, she said, "Thank God you turned that down because I did it." And then after that, they like didn't ask me to do any more. And I go, hey, it's not meant to be anymore.
Have you lobbied to get back on them or asked?
Well, I didn't want to get on the James Franco one. There was another one I didn't. Oh, Bieber. I don't think I asked them. But there was one. Maybe it was Bieber that my agent said, you know what, Lisa will come back if you want. And it didn't happen. And I think that was the universe's way of telling me, you've done it already.
Yeah.
Jim Norton, let's be honest with you. You never seen a fucking roaster like me.
They were great.
Jeff Ross, I love him, but he could suck my cock. I'm way better. And if you're listening, Jeff, which you are, you dirty Jew, you know I love you. But no, you know that I nail it. And I think it's when you go, I've done it all in that area. What's there left?
Well, you talking about someone's toupee, and you said I've seen better rugs in the back of a rape van. Holy fuck, was that a great? That was a fucking sledgehammer line.
Oh, I love. Well, you know what? I had a staff of writers, and I would come up with the jokes, and then we'd try to punch them up.
Sure.
And one of my guys, this was the best. He goes to me, Lisa, I'm sorry. After that Pam Anderson roast, every one of them has to be a haymaker. He goes, you cannot have even one that's a B or an A minus. And I would work my ass off for like a month on this thing. That's a lot of work on a roast.
Yeah.
And now the Friars, of course, always ask me to do theirs, and they're not televised. So part of me is like, I fucking love you guys, but I mean, unless it's going to be somebody huge, why am I going to do this?
Right.
I like press. I like a lot of hits. I don't like to have this where I do all the work for nothing.
Yeah.
Then I'll do charity. It's not a charity.
And it seems too like Comedy Central, though it's not where it used to be. It was the Friars Club roast on Comedy Central. And now it's more like it feels like it's cast, meaning they get a celebrity who's going to bring some celebrity friends. Mm-hmm. There's usually one female comic that is there to be the breakout female comic for Comedy Central.
Right.
And then there's Jeff Ross is there, so we can still say,
well, and he's also one of the producers now, too.
Right.
But I always thought it was bizarre that they didn't have Norton and DePaulo more.
They've only used me once, and that was at Bob Saget's request on his road. I did that roast.
They have to request it almost now. now, these big shots.
Yeah, so they never gave me a lot on those. I don't know why, but I was like, I kind of accepted it too. Like it just wasn't.
You have to. That's what I always go is whatever's meant to be, meant to be. You should have seen me today, right before I came in here. I didn't know it was you guys because I don't know. I thought it was still Opie. I'm freaking retarded. I don't read the paper. So I'm in the car. I'm like, Jim and Sam, who the fucking, I got to do this one. I got to do that loser and this one. Well, then I come and I find out it's you. So I'm in the worst mood. And then I get in a better mood. So I go, it's the universe's way of taking care of me. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just got to go, let it go. And by the way, when I wrote my non-best-selling book, Chocolate Please, that was a huge disappointment because I wasn't a bestseller. I was so sad.
When did you write it?
Years ago, like about almost 10 years ago now. And that started the big shift of like, if whoever needs to read this will read it. Like,
find it.
Yeah. Whoever needs to come see a show will. And that's how I have to feel about everything because we will honestly kill ourselves.
Yeah, and we forget that like our problems as performers, I didn't get enough people there. Or It's like most people are like, will you shut the fuck up?
I know.
Like you're flying business class to LA. Shut your mouth.
You're doing it.
But you know what I think it is? It's the pressure we put on ourselves. It is rich people problems and white people problems for sure. Like it's never going to be like, oh my God, I'm just grateful to have limbs.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, you know what? If I didn't have limbs, I'd probably be more fucking famous because I'd be a crippled comic in a wheelchair looking like a head and a torso. Who wouldn't come see that shit?
They would
now
love
I'm
it.
mad about that.
Right.
But it's the fact is, we put it all on ourselves. And it feels heavy. You will feel sad. It feels like, oh my God, suppose my numbers aren't what they used to be. And I remember my huge heyday before I even had any change of weight or life or anything was when I sold out Radio City and Carnegie Hall within 3 months of each other. And I think that was the top. And I go, will I have a resurgence where I could do that again? I don't know. But in the meantime, you got to let go of expectations and just have a good time and say, whoever's going to find me will.
Do you know, it's corny to say peaks and valleys, but I remember working with Dice. I worked with and Dice took me, it was after the arenas. We were doing like 4,000 people. I mean, they were maniacs.
Sure.
He had an amazing career, but he was obsessed with getting back into the Garden and the arenas. And I would always say to him, like, Andrew, you don't seem to understand like where you're at. Like, okay, it's not the Garden, but you're fucking doing 3,000 people a night, and they're fucking psychotic, and they like.
Right.
And now he's got the show on Showtime, so he even went back up high.
Yeah.
But people forget sometimes like where you are is still better than most of the people you started with. Just be grateful for where you are.
Well, you know what they say about gratitude? Resentment can't coexist with gratitude. So if you're sitting there going, oh my God, I'm so lucky that I flew business class, or I'm so lucky that I had a car pick me up instead of having to get an Uber, one of those smelly fucks who I'm going to rate badly from this morning. So you just go to yourself, oh my God, how can I resent where I am if I'm grateful for where I am? So those are two principles that can't exist in the same place.
Did you get super sensitive, like you're saying, like around that Charlie Sheen time? Did you get sensitive yourself?
Oh my God! Ever since that food rehab with the Saget, when I turned down the Saget Rose, I started just chipping away at my real problems and why I was eating and why I was dating inappropriate men and why I got married to Jimmy Big Balls, and even though he was a great guy and we're still, thank God, good friends and had an amicable divorce, I was like, oh, I'm finding out what I really want and what really drives me and what I don't like about my life. So I think, all that stuff opens you up.
Right.
And then I went and I freaking made the mistake or / blessing of getting a rescue dog, and those fuckers really open you up. Because I have this joke now, Jim, where I swear to God I could be on the phone screaming at my fucking Jew agent, and I'll be like, "You cocksucker, send me to Oregon! How dare you! 2 hours from the airport." The dog walks in. I'm like, "Oh, never mind. You're such a boy. You're such a boy." And then you start doing it to your friends. So I think what happens is your heart opens up more.
Yeah.
And you become a better person. But on stage, you could still get all the crap out. That's what I like about my life now.
Did you ever wish you had kids?
No. Can I tell you what I mourned a few years ago? That I didn't have grandkids. Because I never wanted kids, but now when I see my friends having grandkids, I'm like so jealous. Well, I know this sounds super gay, but one of my spiritual leaders said to me, why don't you just pretend your nieces and nephews are your grandkids and treat them like you would a grandmother? I'm like, fucking A.
Right.
I'll pay for the wedding. Like, I love that. And it's really shifted. Again, gratitude for what I got. I got these 8 nieces and nephews. Why not be great with them?
The anger is such a good tool as a comedian, too, because it fuels so much of what we do.
Yeah.
But as you get older, it's harder to maintain it unless no one wants to have a fucking heart attack when they're 55 years old.
Right.
It's harder to maintain the anger. So it's like, am I going to be funny without being as angry as I was? But it's not honest to be as angry as I was because life is good.
Right. Well, that's the thing, too. But don't you always find a little something to be angry about?
Yeah.
What's great is, thank God, something happens to me that day. Because I'm sure you're like me, where you'll go up in your first 5 minutes or something in your act is going to be about what happened that day because you're like, I can't even fucking believe my life is this hard.
Yeah.
So even though it's pretty freaking easy. So I think we'll always have some anger. It'll be about sillier stuff. And I think the audience likes that too because it's just stupid. Like today, for some fucking reason. Okay, seriously, I'm so pissed about this because it hurts me. Last night, my freaking Amazon Fire Stick was not working.
What?
I finally get the fucking thing to work. Then I switch to my TV. My cable isn't working. My source don't. So we either got one or the other. This isn't right. I'm Lisa Lampanelli. I should have two.
Right.
But then I go, oh, maybe use the TV in the other room. Like, you're such a douchebag, the stuff you get mad at. And it's like, thank God I have one of those two at one time. How could I not catch up on Orange is the New Black?
Right.
I just started watching that, by the way.
Oh
How
my God,
fucking
me
good is that
too.
show? I'm in season 1, episode 3.
Dude, I'm on season 2. We're far behind. Can I tell you, it is the best show ever.
It's unbelievable.
It gets really dark.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah. And how
Season 4
hot is the woman, the transsexual?
Laverne Cox. I met her in the lobby
Sexy.
on the way out one day. We had interviewed Laura Prepon. Who's the one? Taryn?
Oh,
no.
Taryn Manning.
Not
No,
Taryn
we
Manning.
didn't have-
Sorry.
Taylor Schilling?
Taylor Schilling. Sorry.
Oh, she's cool as hell.
And on the way
Cute,
out,
too.
I see Laverne Cox, and so I said hello, and I want to take a photo.
Yeah.
And she's lovely in person. She
really
recognized me
is.
from the Mia Isabella interview. She's like, oh, I know you. You
Oh,
interviewed-
wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed her. I think I've interviewed her twice, but the last time she was up here, we just passed by each other in the hall, and she was just like, "Oh, hello there."
Oh, nice.
I know. I was excited.
That's so funny because you can't be getting that a lot.
Why do you say that?
Well, no, come on, look at us. No, we're not Jim Norton hot. We're Lisa
That's
Lampanelli
really
and this other
depressing.
guy's hot. No. You know what? Do you get hit on a lot? Well, you're married.
Do I get hit on? Never. I've never been hit. No, I don't get
No.
hit on.
Me neither. People go to me because I've been celibate for 4.5 years.
Have you really?
Oh, yeah. I've only been divorced 2.5, which might say something about why I'm.
Wait, did you not want to have sex with him?
I just didn't want to have sex in general because I went through menopause. And I don't think I'm still going through it, but the sexual urges haven't come back.
Have you looked at women at all or no?
No. And guess what? I don't even jerk off. I have no feeling from the waist down. And I love
It's been
it.
4 years.
4.5.
Jesus.
And I'll tell you why that's great. That would cloud up my head. Like someone who told me lust is the enemy. Because honestly, you can concentrate on what you're doing. You can concentrate on your life. You don't have to chase meaningless relationships and have sex with meaningless guys. So I think what's going to happen, this is what I think, how I'm getting taken care of. I think what's going to happen, it's going to reawaken at some point when I meet an appropriate guy. Because these codependent relationships I had is no good. Based on looks and lust. It should be based on, who your equals are, spiritual equals.
It's really crazy, yeah, but I focus on like what the genitals are going to look like.
Right, you
Like,
like
is
that.
her, all these crazy things. Then I start to look at the person. Like it's just, it's very hard to go the appropriate, like you meet the person, you like them, and then you...
Right. It is hard to shift it. And now that I have no feelings about it, well, what's funny too is people go, come on, that can't be true. And inside I'm going, I'm kind of like Sam, like where are the offers coming from? We get no offers,
No
right?
offers. No.
None.
I would never get divorced because I don't have options.
No,
you know what
I don't
I
either.
mean? I'm
Well, I was
Dunsky.
brave enough to get a divorce, but I still don't have options. I think I put up a wall, too. I'm very nice in real life. Jim Norton knows this. I'm a sweetheart of a gal. I'll walk around my town. I'll be very nice to people. But I think there's an imaginary wall up of, like, she's not having it.
That's
you
my
know?
favorite part about being married is that, like, when you're married, since you're not going to pursue anybody, I have this confidence of literally any girl that talks to me in the back of my head. I'm like, oh yeah, she was flirting.
Yeah,
she's kicking it a little bit. Yeah, I got a shot there. And
Yeah.
you never have to. You never have
don't
to
have to
figure
question
out
it.
whether you do or don't. There's never going to be any proof. So you can just trick yourself into thinking you have a shot with everybody.
Yeah, but that's true. But I'll have a guy at Home Depot, for instance, help me put my plants in the car.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'll be scared that he likes me, and I'll just be like, thanks, man. Like, I turn into the biggest dykesaurus in the world. I was just like, yeah, dude, thanks, dude. So I think my next play I write, I'm going to do about women and relationships because I'm fucked up. I don't know what I'm doing.
I'd be so mad, though, if I was married to somebody who 2 years into the marriage decided like, no, I'm going to be celibate now. I'm not
Well, I didn't
interested in
decide
sex
it. What I
anymore.
decided was, well, with menopause, you kind of don't have a choice, but you could take hormone replacement stuff. I was like, I'm really not into sex that much. First of all, Jim, I don't do it very good. You know what I'm saying?
Me neither.
I don't know. I'm pretty terrible, I think.
Are you really, why do you think you were lousy
I
when you
think
did
I
it?
fake it. I think
You do?
not orgasm. I think I fake enjoying it. I think I'm one of those people who's born sort of asexual, used sex to be in a relationship because I was serial monogamous from 13 to about 45.
Not a cheater.
No. And I think I kind of used it to get the guy to date me, and then I sort of go through the motions, and now I don't really know if I'm very good at it.
Did you ever have any? Of course, I have to ask this because all the things you say. Did you ever have anybody fumble with you when you were young? Like anybody?
No.
No,
And I
okay.
think that's a problem. I didn't feel like I was wanted as a child.
Because other children were
feel
getting
like,
molested.
No, but what was funny is in that food rehab, they asked all the girls, who had inappropriate sexual contact as a child. Everyone raised their hand except me, and I was like, "Oh, great! I was the fat one. Oh, great."
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even I make a joke about this on stage, but this is true. I had the only date rapist on campus who took no for an answer. I honestly, Jim, he was a varsity basketball player. I'll never forget it. Hot white guy. And I went out with a date with him, and people had said, he's a date rapist. And I go, I don't care. I'm lonely. You never know. So we go out, and he starts being inappropriate. He goes, it was very haunting now that I think about it. He goes, you're lucky that tonight I'm not in the mood to force myself. He goes, but usually I don't take no for an answer. And I'm like, come back, Mr. Cosby. No, but that really happened. I was like,
That's
wow.
disturbing on multiple levels.
Right?
In the sense that what could have happened, and then in the sense, why didn't it happen?
Yeah, I'm kind of like hurt.
Yeah.
But thank God it really didn't,
And why did you go out with him to begin with? That's the big question.
Thank
Yeah, there's
you.
There's a lot wrong with the whole scenario.
Yeah, why do you think I don't date? I got to
you-
figure myself out, dude.
You would have asked for it, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. I think right now it's enough working on myself. Like, that's what I say. Is if I work on myself enough to attract somebody who's amazing, then that's the way it's going to go. And it's not going to have to do with lust or looks or money. It'll just have to look like, this is somebody I'm supposed to be with.
Have you had any dates?
No, I don't bother with it.
You don't?
No. Again, who's asking? I have a wall up. I honestly do.
What kind of spiritual leader do you have, or
I
leaders?
have I go to this place called Kripalu. It's a meditation retreat place and yoga retreat place up in the Berkshires. And honestly, it's so great. It's super spiritual, but you can get into it as much or as little as you want. Like they say, meditate. Phenomenal with this meditation. I can't do it. I don't know. I do 10 minutes a day if I'm lucky from an app. I'm not that kind of chick. And I tried yoga. I can't do no yoga. I fall over. I don't want to look like a fucking asshole in front of these chicks. I'm famous. How dare you? So I have people who I just talk to about these issues,
Like a
one-on-one.
therapist?
I used to have a therapist. Now it's more spiritually based, but he combines everything.
I see.
Do you pray to God, or is it not that kind of spirituality?
No, not really. Not for me. It's more like I just kind of think things through, go internally, and go feel your feelings. The big thing, Jim, as you know, with addiction, and mine was food and men, is to just feel your feelings. They're not going to kill you. Like that whole thing of, just test not using cake once. And then honestly, then you have the history to prove you don't need the cake. It's still going to be a struggle the next time, but you have history to prove that you don't need it.
What was your relationship like with, because you did Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah.
So what was your relationship like with Trump when you did that? And like how many years ago was it?
It was like 5 years ago, or maybe more. Oh my God, probably 7.
Is it weird to think you've interacted with the president?
But who the hell would have ever thought? I mean, I thought when he
Right.
said he was going to run for president, it was when like a child says they want a pony for Christmas. Like, it's not going to happen, you douchebag. But Trump was always good to me, and this legitimately happened. Okay, ever since he got was running, got president. Here's what happened. I get calls from reporters going, was he sexually inappropriate to anyone? Did you see anything? Dude, no. But this was so funny and insulting at the time to me.
By the way, when that Billy Bush tape came out, you must have had flashbacks to college again. Being
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what do you mean he grabs
absolutely.
pussies?
Yeah.
He didn't
And
grab
I'm
mine.
right,
I didn't even
right?
make an
Well,
attempt.
my cock and balls got in the way. But with this Trump, this thing actually happened. He would go around. I think this helped lead to the surgery eventually because I go, wow, I'm really invisible. Because I had the weight on. He would go around the room before the cameras went on. He'd like compliment a different woman at every taping. So he'd go, Teresa, you look beautiful today. Aubrey, you look more attractive with every week. And honestly, of course he's going to leave me out. I was a battle axe. I wasn't his type. But he looks at me one day and he goes, Lisa, and I got my hopes up a little bit. Everyone wants to be noticed. And he goes, doesn't Teresa look beautiful today?
no.
And I'm like, holy crap. You know, do I have a secret hidden penis that he knows about? But honestly, it didn't crush me, but it goes, yeah, Lisa, because every woman's going to get to that point where you're invisible. You're either a handicapped woman, fat, old, where you just disappear. So I always say to these bitches under 30, if a guy bikes by you now saying, I want to come on your tits, savor that bitch. That's what we call the good old days.
Because it does go away.
They're ungrateful. See, they have resentment and they're ungrateful.
It goes away. It does end.
It does.
At least it's promoting. By the way, just to promote, you're promoting Stuffed, and it begins October the 5th. Tickets are on sale now at insultcomic.com or stuffedplay.com, and it's going to be at the West Side Theater, which is on 43rd Street, which is an awesome place.
Have you seen things out there?
I've been there, many years ago.
The Vagina Monologue started at that theater, and Nora Ephron's play Love Lesson, What I Wore. So it's this theater that really does these 4 to 5 woman shows really well. So it's me and a cast of 3 other actors talking about food addiction, weight, body image struggles, etc. But it's not morbid.
Right.
Now, it's not, I would say the first 45 minutes are just drop down funny. I mean, they're hilarious. And then, of course, we get to the bigger issues and the bottoms that we all had to fall through. But guess what? The fact is, if you're a comic, the funny, Alan Zweibel helped me write this, who was an SNL writer.
No, you wrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
Did you write the whole thing or just your part?
No, I wrote the whole thing.
You did?
Yeah, and Alan Zweibel was like a co-writer on it. And he said, Lisa, don't worry about the funny. With Billy Crystal's show, he told Billy, don't worry, you're going to be funny. Just write the real stuff first. And I think that helped me get the surgery too. It led to the fact that I eventually dealt with my food issues and decided to get the surgery. So yeah, the play's great, man. We had an off-Broadway run. Now it's going to the West Side run for like 6 months at least. And I'm like, holy crap.
Wow.
Like a celebrity cast. It's going to be really gangster.
Did you say who was in it already or no?
Not yet. That's the big announce in a couple months.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, October 5th previews start and telecharge.com. Jim, I always wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Telecharge.com. Because that's like Hamilton type of shit. Put it this way. This is off-Broadway's equivalent of Hamilton without more than one black. You always have to put one black or an Asian in order to be racially correct in these days and age.
Sure.
And there are some different races that have these food issues, as we've seen. So, think about it, Laverne Cox. You might have to be in my play for me. That's a whole different surgery.
So you don't get shit from like colleges or like anger-driven stuff from them about stuff you say?
Listen, these colleges, I've never done college. I did 3 in my whole life. I always said I don't want to change a word that I say. 3 colleges agreed to that in my whole career, and it's great. But they don't even pay that much. Like, remember they paid a lot years ago? You go, if you want me to edit, that'll cost you a lot more. And I'm not having bravado here.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You understand. We just don't want to change what we do. Corporates, I've done maybe 3 also.
Me too, yeah.
I had one cancel on me. Oh, my God, this was the best. It was, I'm not going to say whom, but a very famous athletic wear company wanted me to do this big corporate for them with John Legend. So it's going to be like a big thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
They cancel it because the guy who had booked it didn't share who it was in my comedy until like right at the last minute. Dude, I got the money anyway.
They paid you anyway.
Wow.
How great is that when you could make bank, bro? Like I used to say about Greg Giraldo, God rest his soul, I used to say, they pay you not to be on TV. They pay me not to do gigs. I loved sitting home and going, suck my dick, whatever Under Armour thing type of thing you are.
They found out what you did and felt like in a corporate environment it would be bad, but they're like, we'll give you the check, but just...
That was fantastic.
How far before the gig, because corporate's are always a nightmare, how far before did you realize, I don't have to go do this?
Oh my God, I think it only happened like 2 weeks before. But what was cool was that they paid it. Because part of me goes, you can really fight them, and sometimes you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like a couple months ago, I got mad because I booked a couple, before the play starts, because we start rehearsals in September, I booked a bunch of clubs in order to try new stuff for a special. Because, you're not going to do that in front of a theater.
Sure.
So I booked this one club. Dude, I walk up to that place. Well, I don't walk up. Come on, let's be honest. I was driven up to that club in that Hyundai. And I tell you what, this thing had not one picture of me. And I was very sad and depressed because I go, it's not going to sell out. If you don't know I'm here,
yeah.
I felt weird. Tried to get them to, tried to beat more money out of them because that's what the agents try to do. It didn't work, but at least you try.
When you realize something didn't sell out, and I've had those too, where it was amazing. When did that happen? Like what you said, you did Radio City and Carnegie Hall. When did something like, wow, I'm doing this club, but it didn't sell?
I'll tell you exactly when it happened, and it hurt my feelings so bad. That's why I wrote the play. Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I will never forget. They have a small theater. It sold out the last time I did it, which is a good lesson. But years ago, about 7 years ago when I started writing this play, I didn't sell out Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I think it was 800 seats on a Thursday night. First of all, I forgot that it was a Thursday, so I took it too personally for Thursday. But I remember looking at Jimmy, and I got tears in my eyes. I go, I can't fucking sell out Pittsfield, Massachusetts on a Thursday. I'm retiring. I go, can I retire? And he goes, you can do whatever you want. That's what was great about him. He really didn't care about money or anything. So I go, I'm out of here. I go, what do I care? I already did everything I wanted to in comedy. I don't care. The next day I wake up, I'm watching HBO. I see Carrie Fisher doing her one-person show. And I go, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a play. So Jimmy Big Balls wakes up around noon, which was his type of thing. And I go, guess what? I'm writing a play. And he goes, I thought you were fucking retiring last night. I go, no, I'm not. I'll never retire. So I start working on the play and it's ready. So that's what happens. It leads you to what you're supposed to be led to. And the big lesson is last time I was in Pittsfield, it sold out.
It did.
So I think you just got to go, I'm going to sell out some places. I'm not going to sell out others. Like, I will never sell out Dallas. I don't know why. Never. I don't know why. I think theaters maybe 2,000 or 2,500. It doesn't work.
For you, that's been a city you've never sold in.
I don't get it.
I have 90 of those. But, I do know what you mean. There's some places, no matter how well you're doing, that one city reminds you this can happen.
That's the one who got away. I will accept not selling out in a red state that there's no gays. Like, Dallas, there's gays. You're supposed to come out. But I just can't accept Dallas. It hurts my feelings. And then you go, hey, you know what? That's where you got to shift into spirituality mode where just go, whoever's supposed to see this will. And then you'll get a nice email from somebody saying, like, you know, something that helped them laugh and you feel like, I did my job. Because really, is our job really about our ego? When we take the ego out of it, it doesn't matter. Like, our feelings would never get hurt if it wasn't for ego.
Yeah, that is the truth. I mean, I hurt my own feelings over nonsense.
I know.
Like, you do?
What
do you, over what?
Over like what she's talking about.
Oh my God, we kill ourselves.
Over like not selling out in certain cities?
Yes. Oh my God, yeah. And Twitter followers and this and that. I have over 500,000 Twitter followers. And
that hurt my feelings. I only got like 100,000.
Yeah, but here's the deal. None of mine are real, I bet, because they all were
bots.
fans during the... No, not that. But I think during The Apprentice, they liked me. Now they're kind of
yeah.
whatever. Because I don't get no responses. I get maybe 100 responses to a tweet. It used to be the old days was like 1,000 because it was The Apprentice, this, that. You go, you know what? This is the place I'm supposed to be. So I have to talk myself out of that ego thing a lot.
And it's funny too, because look at the other end of that. That's because The Apprentice was such a huge show. I remember I interviewed you.
Remember how big it was?
When
I
you
remember
did
that.
The Apprentice, and then you go forward. You know, you look at where you're at now, but you look at where The Apprentice is now, and nobody's watching it. And nobody on that.
Yeah, but it
last
could then
season,
be argued that I killed that show.
Maybe you did.
Maybe I did.
Maybe
But you know what's
destroyed
weird?
it.
We talked about The Apprentice last week. My manager, she's so awesome. And we're going, did The Apprentice do anything for my career? Literally nothing. Guess what happened? And it didn't hurt it at all.
No, nothing.
It cemented my reputation as a badass, but did nothing. It earned $130,000 for my charity, which is great. But Jesus Christ, that's not why I did the show.
Right.
There are all those cunty celebrities who are like, I'm doing it for my charity. No, you're doing it because you're a fucking loser with a dream. You like don't even think about it. But it really didn't do anything except guess what it did, Jim?
What?
It freaking got me recognized on the street so much. But then I get the weight loss surgery. Nobody recognizes me. It's like the universe's way of saying, Jesus Christ, get the ego out.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
You don't look like you from The Apprentice anymore.
Yeah.
So nobody's
thank
gonna recognize.
God. I look so freaking beautiful.
You do look lovely.
Want to know what's odd, Jim? I say that, and I oddly believe it. I don't know what's wrong with me, but part of me feels that it's okay that I shop at Forever Slutty One and H&M. I go, there's something wrong with me that I think I'm 19 years old, but I don't care. Because it's not like I'm thinking, oh, I'm more beautiful than that person. I'm like, I look better than I did 10 years ago. Fuck it.
Is that one of the reasons why you shaved off all your hair and everything and made like a very stylistic choice?
Because I said, did Katy Perry do it? Lisa Lampanelli could do it. Like, who the hell do I think I am? Or Miley Cyrus, all of that. But I think it's because you just go, let it go. Like I talked to John Cryer in the green room. He's terrific. He has a shaved head now. He goes, I was balding. I don't like it. This is so much easier. That's part of the reason, too. You say, let it go. Kind of like Frozen. Let it go. Do you have kids?
I have a little 4-month-old, so he's not into...
well, don't worry. He'll be a fag, so he'll be into Frozen.
It's just like his daddy.
Yes, there you go.
What happened with the Westboro Baptist Church?
Those evil fucks.
They really are awful.
Are you not fans?
Oh, my God. GodHatesFags.com?
Oh.
No, I love the fags. Here's what happened to me, Jim. I'll tell you the full story. I'm playing someplace near them. I think Wichita or Topeka. They tweet out that they're going to protest me. So here I'm such a moron. I go, oh, really? Well, let me get back at them. I said, good, show up, assholes. More the merrier, because everybody who shows up to protest me, I am donating $1,000 of my own money to the gay men's health crisis in New York City. So I figure nobody's going to show up because they don't want me doing that, to fuck them. They figured, let's really fuck her. 48 of them show up. I honestly believe 20 would show up. So 20 grand, that's nice. Well, there's 48 show up. So I tweet out the next day, because it got on CNN. I tweet out, oh, fuckers, 45 of you showed up, because I thought I did an accurate count.
Yeah.
Well, it was Jimmy Big Balls counting, and he's not so good with the numbers.
He's not.
So I say, okay, I'm going to up it to 50. And I gave him 50 grand, but there's nothing that feels better than they had one of those big cardboard checks made out, handing it to somebody, except when they hand it to you, it's a lot better.
A lot better, yeah.
But dude, that felt so good. And I go, so it's 50 grand. What are we going to do? That would be the charity for the year.
Sure.
So I think after that, I didn't buy no clothes for a while. Fuck it. Well, you just do it.
You just do it. Rogan interviewed they're losing a lot of their younger members.
Yes, I heard.
Because, pop culture and all this stuff, you just can't keep people from seeing what's out there.
Right.
And I forget which one it was. She was a cute one. It might have been Megan Roper Phelps, but Joe just had her on. I haven't seen the podcast, but I think they're kind of slowly going away.
I hope so,
Yeah.
because the old man died.
Fred Phelps,
Yeah, so that was so happy. But I just couldn't believe that really exists, because, first of all, GodHatesFags.com, best name ever. I wish I thought of it, because that would be my website.
I mean, it really is a marketable name.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm going to just have God Hates Chinks. But, they're very organized, those Asians. Have you learned that, too?
They don't fuck around when it comes to being socially outraged. Yeah, they'll get you.
Yeah. Well, my opening act now is a gay guy who used to be on Sirius named Frank DeCaro.
Oh, yeah.
He was on OutQ for many years. He goes, I love my people, but we get upset over everything. He goes, I'm so sick of every time I turn around, we gays have another fucking protest going. Because he goes, at one point they wanted them to not shop in Target. And for a gay guy, that's like lifeblood. And he was like, they could change the name of Target to fuck you, you fat faggot. And I would still shop there.
Yeah.
Because there's some things, groups just get outraged over everything now. And like I said to you, hey, if my career goes down the toilet eventually because they don't want politically incorrect, hey, then it's done.
You went down swinging.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And I like to think, gay people don't honestly want to live without Chick-fil-A.
They don't.
Like,
oh my
it's
God.
so good.
Dude. It is the best. And I tour with this fag. And I said to him, Frank, we're going to a Chick-fil-A. And then he'll go to Taco Bell instead. I go, good, go have the shits. I'm going to Chick-fil-A. I don't care how Christian you are. And isn't it funny they're still not open on Sunday, those Chick-fil-A's?
I know, they're not.
They really aren't.
You get a
It's a
Bible
religious
verse with
thing,
every
yeah.
fry. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Hey, you, what did you think about, because Eliza just kind of stepped in shit. Eliza Schlesinger.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, you didn't hear? I think
No,
she was
no,
just
no.
saying that female comics, she was challenging female comics to.
She basically said that,
Yeah.
I think she said that she's the only female comic with like a history joke, meaning that and that she walks into a club and can't tell the difference between which female comic is performing. They're all just telling jokes about their vaginas and all that, and kind of pointed herself out as somebody who's not following this sort of
Look,
sameness.
Here's what you do. As a comic, I've learned this hard lesson that she will learn. You never generalize. On stage, of course, for humor. Never say I'm the first. Never say I'm the only. Somebody's going to figure out somebody who has that joke, and you're going to look like a jerk and have to apologize. I don't know if she's right. I have many history jokes myself, black history, about my own history with blacks. So this is how I feel. But I see what you're saying, because I remember once Norm Macdonald was on the radio, and he said something about there's no female comics out there, this is like 5 years ago, who act female. And at the time, they go, well, what about Lisa Lampanelli? He goes, she acts like a dude. And I'm like, yeah, he's right. So you can't ever get really mad about stuff that you're lumped in with. But I don't know. Who'd she get crap from? Just a lot of other female comics?
A lot of women, yeah.
You know what you do? You let it
feminists,
go. You let
too.
it go. Guess what? I do what I do. Am I the most original person in the world? Maybe not to some. I'm totally me. That's how only person I could be. They say, oh, you rip off Rickles. I say, I never directly stole one of his jokes, but if I happen to have the same beautiful lovability that he and Jim Norton have, then I have to deal with that.
Right.
So yeah, I just learned in the business, because Joan Rivers, God rest her soul, she would be very mean about other female comics.
Was she?
Oh, she was terrible to me. Oh, I'm in her book. And I understood. See, this is why it's lucky I was interviewed about her years later after I worked on myself, because I can't come down on her. Because guess what? She was a dented can like the rest of us. I say we're all dented cans.
What did she say about you in her book?
Oh, not original. No. I was quoted, she said on the air that I was unoriginal, that I only talked about the blacks. And this is years later when that's not true. And I go, I didn't even get mad. I was hurt a little because she's an icon.
Sure.
I let it go. Comics have been mean to me the whole time. Jim remembers. They made me miserable at the cellar. I was way too soft for the cellar. I would come there, bring a book and read because it hurt me all the time. So I always go, look, the 3 people who were meanest to me, and this is true, Patrice O'Neal, Greg Giraldo, Joan Rivers. They all got one thing in common.
That's true.
They're in the fucking ground. Guess who's still up here swinging? And so you just got to go with other comics. Just shut your mouths.
Did you know Patrice felt bad about his relationship with you?
He called
regretted
into
that.
a radio show and he apologized. And they played it. Paul and Young Ron.
That's right.
Played it the whole weekend because no one could believe Patrice O'Neal apologized. And it was so heartwarming that by the end he did that. I just thought that was real gentlemanly.
Jeff Garland tells a story similar to that too. Like he just at the end he was like, I've been that guy. Like, you had that moment or that like, wow, that moment of self-reflection that he wasn't sick. I mean, it wasn't like he knew he was going to die, but he just came to that place where he was like, I'm fucking with people. Like, and you forget that it has a real effect on real people.
I remember it really was what shut me down at the cellar because I remember the first time I ever talked to Patrice was when, so many years ago, we were both kind of newish, but he had been on TV already on Conan, his first big Conan. He comes in and there was nobody else there. So he talked to me. So I was like, the loser who he talked to. And he was asking me something about a girl that he liked and advice and whatever. I remember coming in the next day, all you guys were there. So he had somebody else to talk to. So I walk in and like the kid at school, I just go, hi, Patrice. He goes, look, just because we talked once doesn't mean we're friends. Do you know what that fucking does to you when you don't know anyone else?
Right.
And you feel like, oh my God, shut me down. I was never comfortable at the cellar again. I'd go every night till I started doing theaters about 15 years ago. I've never been in the cellar since.
Really?
Or any comedy club in the city. Not because I don't want to. I never do spots. I don't want to do spots. Like my life, thank God, is in Connecticut for the most part, where I really have family and friends.
Is that where you're living?
Both New York and Connecticut. But I don't feel my time is well spent at clubs. It doesn't profit me. But boy, did it hurt. It hurts your feelings. They forget you're still dented.
I think I've said this on the air before, but Patrice was dismissive of Jess the first time he met her, which he was. My wife, girlfriend at the time, which he was of girlfriends.
Sure.
And like years later, this was the summer before he died. I reintroduced her as if they hadn't met before, just to kind of ease awkwardness.
Right.
And he took full ownership and apologized.
Wow.
Like just right there, and like blew Jess, and Jess had carried it for years, like knowing that like she wasn't treated right, and I was like, oh, it's Patrice. Like,
but
what?
we do carry it, and that's what's great. I remember when the New Yorker magazine or New York was doing a big retrospective on Patrice, and it was right after his death, probably a month or so, and really deep piece, and they were interviewing everybody. So they call me for an interview, and I go. Of course, I talked to him, and I go, I fucking hated him. I go, yeah, he apologized. He fucking ruined about 10 years of my life. And of course, now I know he was my best teacher. Come on. So I go, he was horrible. I go, just because he died doesn't mean I'm going to switch my story and say he was a great guy. So what's great is it fit in with the story. Great. It was nice.
Sure.
Do you know, I get an email from his wife, I guess, and she goes, you are the best. Patrice would have fucking loved that you stuck to your guns like that. And what's funny is then I'm able to let it go.
Right,
that was. I know he would have liked that.
He would have said you were right. I was shitty to her.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? You know who I always loved when he was shitty to me because he always apologized because he's a big fucking pussy like me? Voss. Rich Voss would literally, he'd say something, by the way, anything he said to you to diss you was so funny that you almost didn't care. But he'd come up the next day and go, Lampanelli, okay, right? Because he's all AA.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and he's also a coward. He's he's a brave coward.
Yeah. Or maybe he thought I'd make it and he wouldn't. He wanted to get on the old gravy train. But honestly, I was like, that's really sweet. But I always thought, like, who I quote Jim Norton so much, and I can't believe it, because, I always talk about Seinfeld, how he used to stop at the cellar and just not be nice and just kind of not, and be like above it and just sort of not a nice guy, but not nasty, but never friendly. And Norton, I said once to Norton, that fucking Seinfeld thinks who the fuck he is, huh? And Norton said something to me like, he is who he is. Like, he is that guy. He was that guy before. He's going to be that guy now. He has a lot of responsibility. So That's just he's just being who he is, and that teaches you acceptance of people. They're not going to be who you want them to be.
But I'm such a fucking weasel. I was probably hoping it would get back to Jerry and he'd use me.
Codependent idiot.
But no, when you see somebody who's consistently that person, you're like, okay, that's who that person is. That's how they interact with people. It's worse when you see somebody who starts out a certain way and then goes through it and then all of a sudden becomes a cunt. That's kind of frustrating.
The worst.
You're like, oh, fuck.
They say the same thing about Daniel Tosh, and I don't even know if this is true because I've never met him. Said he's always been an asshole and he's still an asshole.
Is he? I met Tosh one time. He interviewed me when they were doing before he hit a show. He was doing some like stuff for Comedy Central at a festival in Florida. It's the only time I think I've ever interacted with him.
Right.